He directs gritty crime tales. Most people think those are just movies, but life just gave Martin Scorsese a darker script than any scene he has ever shot. At 82, the heartbreak is real, private, and human. I grew up watching Taxi Driver and Goodfellas, and I admired the craft. Today, I see the man behind the work. His life now mirrors the pain and guilt and search for grace that his films have chased for decades. This story comes from interviews and long, careful research. Here is the plan we will follow together: Helen's illness, Marty's struggle, the film echoes, and what it all means for his legacy. One quick truth, because it matters for everything that follows. Parkinson's is not only an illness of old age. Helen was diagnosed in her early 30s. That fact alone shifts the ground under this whole story. He once said, in simple, humble words, "My complaining is nothing compared to her suffering." That is the voice of a husband who knows the cost and who chooses love anyway. You are watching Golden American Legends, and I want to honor both the art and the person. His camera showed darkness. His life now meets it face to face. Next, the private truth behind the camera. He built an empire on stories of crime, guilt, and the hope of redemption. Many people say it's only fiction, but the twist is this: his real life now echoes the darkness he put on screen. That mirror is hard to look at, and yet it explains so much. When asked to name the person who makes him who he is, Martin chose his wife, Helen. That line hits different when you know what they have carried together. Across a career that spans about 60 years, he has made landmark films: Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, The Departed. He earned 7 Oscar nominations and won Best Director for The Departed in 2007. But away from the awards, a deeper script was being written at home. He has said more than once that his own problems are small next to hers. That humility is not a pose. It is the backbone of this chapter. So when I rewatch his movies now, I see the same themes beating in his daily life: suffering, loyalty, and a stubborn belief that love can pull us through. That is the real drama, and it sets the stage for the person at the center of this story, Helen. Next, the hidden crisis that the public rarely saw. Behind the camera, a quiet heartbreak grew for decades. Martin Scorsese's wife, Helen, has lived with Parkinson's for about 30 years. He has praised her many times with simple, clear words: "I have never seen such strength under the worst of circumstances." That is not a director's line. That is a husband's truth. They married in 1965 and built a big, close family together, with 5 children in the mix and a home full of books, film, and music. Helen worked as a book editor, and she stood with him through highs and lows. They kept the illness private. Now and then, fans glimpsed tender moments in short family videos: a hand held, a small laugh, a good day in the middle of many hard ones. Those little scenes say more than any award speech ever could. Parkinson's is a progressive disease. It can be managed, but there is no cure. Over time, symptoms grow and change. The toll is not only physical. It touches speech, thought, mood, and the rhythm of daily life itself. Knowing that, you can feel how heavy this story is. Her fight stretches across decades. Next, let's trace Helen's long journey with this illness. Imagine waking up each day and facing the same illness for years and years. Most people will never walk that road. Helen did, starting young. She was diagnosed in her early 30s. Now she is in her late 70s. Their daughter has spoken about it with love and honesty, and Martin himself has said it plainly. She has had Parkinson's for about 30 years now. This is a rare, long fight, and it reshaped their home and their hearts. Even as the illness moved forward, Helen still added to his world. She worked with him on the Kundun book, she cared for a busy household, they raised 5 children, and she kept her spirit. Early-onset Parkinson's is uncommon, and it often comes with years of extra challenges. Medicines must be balanced, routines must adjust, safety plans must evolve. Every small win matters. When I look back at his films through this lens, I see a director who understands long pain, the kind that never leaves the room. That is why the emotion in his work feels so true. It has been living with him for decades. This long story now stands at a new point. The doctors call it the final stage. Next, here's what that means for Helen day to day.
The final stage of Parkinson's is not only about tremors, it is about losing movement, balance, and often the freedom to act alone. Many people at this stage use a wheelchair. They need help with most daily tasks. Muscles can freeze without warning. Speech can soften. Swallowing can be hard. The risk of falls and infections goes up. The mind can change too, with confusion or memory loss, often called Parkinson's dementia. It is a heavy 24/7 level of care. For Helen, this means regular trips to the emergency room when infections flare or a fall happens. It means nurses, therapists, and a family that plans every hour with care. There is no cure. Treatment can ease symptoms and bring comfort, but the path still goes one way. It is a reality that demands patience, strength, and constant love. I know this is hard to hear, but telling the truth is how we honor her courage and his. If stories like this matter to you, please subscribe, like, and share. It helps this work reach more people who care about film and about real lives. Next, meet the director, not on a set, but at home, in the role he never asked for and fully embraced, Caregiver. He once joked that he used to complain a lot. That changed. These days, Martin Scorsese spends long stretches by Helen's side. Family clips have shown him helping her eat, guiding her through small steps, doing gentle therapy moves, and taking time to simply sit close. Instead of blocking a scene, he plans a day of meds, meals, and rest. Instead of calling action, he listens for her needs and watches for signs of strain. The work is steady and quiet, and it asks for his whole heart. He has said it clearly, "My complaining is nothing compared to her suffering." That line is a compass. It points him towards service and away from vanity. It is the opposite of the swagger we see in some of his most famous characters. In this story, the hero does not chase glory. He shows up hour after hour with patience and care. I see a kind of grace in that. The small tasks become big acts of love. The home becomes a set where kindness is the only measure that counts. All of it deepens the meaning of his work. Next, let's place this chapter inside the larger arc of his legacy, on screen and off. His films are giant markers in American cinema: Taxi Driver, Goodfellas, The Departed, more recently Killers of the Flower Moon in 2023. Across about 60 years, he has asked hard questions about power, sin, loyalty, and the cost of a life. He won Best Director for The Departed, and he has guided, taught, and inspired generations. He also helped create the Film Foundation to protect old movies, a lifelong act of care for film history itself. Now add this chapter: a husband who meets pain with devotion, a father who holds a family close, a man who keeps showing up. The ovations he receives at big festivals feel different when you know this part of his life. The applause seems to say, we see the artist and we see the human being. To me, that is legacy in full: the work on screen and the work at home, the camera and the hand that feeds a spoon of cake to someone you love. This is not a footnote. It is a final layer that makes the earlier films ring even truer. Next, even in the dark, a light remains. Let's end with hope and humor. Even in darkness, a light can break through. In small family clips, I see Helen smile as Martin teases or makes a silly face. I see cake shared at the table and a gentle laugh that cuts through the noise of medical gear. Fans love those moments, not because they are flashy, but because they are real. They show a family making joy where joy is hard to find. Martin has praised Helen's spirit again and again. He says he has never seen such strength or such a positive way of facing the worst days. That spirit rubs off. It gives him a reason to keep moving, to keep laughing when he can, and to be grateful for one more calm hour together. Their daughter has also shared reminders to never take health for granted. That line is simple and it lands. Millions of families live with Parkinson's around the world. Many still build full lives with help, community, and care. Humor is not a cure, but it is a bridge. It brings people back to each other. It brings breath into the room. That is what I hold on to here. Next, closing thoughts and a moment of thanks. We came for cinema and we found a lesson in love. The pain, guilt, and hope that Martin Scorsese explored for decades were never just lines on a page. They were the weather in his own home. At 82, he stands in the hardest scene of his life as Helen faces the final stage of Parkinson's after more than 30 years of fighting, and still, he shows up. That is the part that moves me most. We honor his art when we honor this truth. The director who gave us Travis Bickle and Henry Hill has also given us a picture of devotion that no camera can fully capture. Here on Golden American Legends, I try to bridge the art and the human story, and this one matters. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this touched you, please subscribe. It helps me keep telling stories that treat our legends like people, not statues. Thanks for watching. Which Scorsese scene takes on new meaning after knowing this? Do you think it is okay for private stories like this to become public? Yes, because, or no, because?